So today we have a very important IRS announcement that we need to get to. But before we get to this new announcement and the layoffs that we are currently experiencing, we need to address some of the good news coming out of the IRS. And that means there's more money going into your pocket as a tax filer. Now, I'm going to get to this in just a moment, but I do want to give you some warnings. So I'm going to do that in a moment as well. So there's warnings, we have some updates, and we have some good news, all of which I'm going to bring you in just a moment. So again, all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So let's get right to the good news because I know that's what a lot of people are here to see. Look at this. The average refund is now up nearly 20% from last year. That means people are getting 20% more back this year in 2025 than they did in 2024. I want to read a little bit of this to you. It says the IRS has already issued more than 8 million refunds this tax season, with Americans receiving nearly 20% more money back than they did this time last year. It says through February 7th, the latest date currently available on the IRS website, the agency has issued over 8 million refunds, which is roughly 7.6% more than the 7.48 million that they have issued by this time last year. Okay, so they are issuing more refunds. Here's what you need to understand about that. That could have something to do with the IRS having more agents than they did last year. But according to experts, it's not just about the agents, it's also about the systems. More people are opting for electronic filing, an e-file, as opposed to paper filing because they want to get their money quicker. It's also shown and been proven that if you e-file, there's a lot less risk of it throwing up a red flag, having to have a actual human reviewer, and it's going to take a little bit longer. So all around, good news there. Now, goes on to say, the average refund amount through February 7th was $2,065, roughly 18.6% higher than the $1,741 at this time last year. Also keep in mind, and this is something that you may need to maybe address this year as well. Last year, we saw a lot of inflation, and because of inflation, we saw people get raises from their employers. Here's what normally happens. When you go and you start working for your employer, right? You go and fill out the paperwork, and they ask you to claim the number of dependents. Well, here's what normally happens. People claim their dependents based off of the actual amount of children that they have. Now, I'm not trying to give you tax advice here. I'm not an expert at all, okay? But for many people, when they claim their actual number of dependents, they still get money back at the end of the year. So in many cases, some experts do tell you to increase it by 1. Now, I don't know your financial situation, so again, talk to a financial expert or an accountant, and they can help you out there. But here's why this number could be higher this year at, again, 18.6% higher at this time this year compared to last, is because you received a bigger increase in your pay. So you were making more money, but you never adjusted your dependents, which means there was still more money being taken out of your paycheck going to the federal government, which in the end they didn't need, and you overpaid, which essentially is why you're getting that refund. Okay? That's probably why. Now, that's the good news as of today. Here's the big news. Okay, look at this. It says, here's how IRS layoffs could impact your tax filing and refund this season. Now, if you've already filed your federal income taxes, you don't need to worry about this, but we have until April 15th of 2025 to do so, or you can file an extension. Here's what you need to know. It says, thousands of IRS employees are expected to lose their jobs as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency continues widespread cuts to federal spending. Okay, here's what I can tell you. The Department of Government Efficiency, according to the IRS, they are going to release about 6,700 IRS employees. Some of these are agents, customer service reps, IT techs, and so on and so forth. 6,700. That right there may seem scary. But at the same time, what you need to understand is that these massive changes are likely to come after April 15th. Here's the reason why it's such a big deal. These are people that are likely trying to take as much time as they need. Okay? Take as much time as humanly possible to do specific tasks because they know they have a deadline. And even though the deadline for taxes is April 15th, I believe it's like May 12th, that's when the federal government is giving these IRS agents and IRS employees a chance to work until, and then at that point, they will simply be let go. Okay? So just keep that in mind. But the reason why I bring this to your attention is because we've been hearing a lot of changes coming out of the IRS, which again could impact your federal tax return and how quickly you get your money back. According to experts, what they're telling us is if you have the ability to e-file, do so. If you also have the ability to hire somebody to help you with your filing, do so. Don't just delay it. Don't wait, because if you wait, here's the problem, and it's a massive problem. We could see all these people, all these tax returns could be put in a queue for a human reviewer. Keep in mind, you have to file by April 15th. You don't have to have your return by April 15th. You don't have to have the acceptance by April 15th. Okay, you have to file. With that said, if it gets kicked back and you need to adjust it, you need to fix some things. That's going to create an issue because once we start hitting that date and people start doing less work, okay, or we get to May 12th or whatever, the issue there is you could see a massive delay. It could be weeks, if not months. So just be prepared for that. I want to show you this as well. This I thought was interesting. This is a little update from IRS agents. It says, fired IRS employee decries irony of being hired to make the IRS more efficient. Because under the Biden administration, they said, if we want to make the IRS more efficient, we want to bring in more money, the only way to do so is to hire more agents. Now, under the Trump administration, they're saying, if we want to be more efficient and we want to make more money, we need to fire these IRS agents because we need to get away from the Internal Revenue Service where we're collecting taxes and fees from the American people, and we need to opt for the External Revenue Service where we are now taxing and charging people from other countries to do business right here in the United States. So again, it's very interesting, and yes, it is somewhat ironic. Look at this though. The Treasury and the White House just the other day, they agreed to limit Doge's access to IRS data, and specifically individual taxpayers' data and information. According to the Treasury and the White House, yes, they both agreed that this is the right move. But here's what you need to understand. According to reports, the White House and Treasury agreed temporarily to limit access. But after the tax filing season, the Treasury and White House may open the doors so that Doge does have more access to personalized information. So again, just keep that in mind. That is on the table according to reports out just this morning. So just wanted to share this with you. Again, some very important updates from the IRS that are going to impact millions and millions of Americans, whether you have already filed your taxes or you are waiting to do so. So if you have any questions regarding any of this stuff, you can always ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, I'm not a tax expert. I'm not trying to give you financial advice here. If you need specific financial advice and you need tax help, well, don't look at me. Go find an actual expert because, again, that's what they're there for. So if you have any other questions, ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.